Ken is 52, Maya is 38, and Zoe is 24. They live in the same city, earn roughly the same salary adjusted for their career stages, and have spent over 15 years in the workforce. While their incomes are nearly identical, their retirement balances are not. Ken has saved $320,000, while Maya has $42,000. That is a $278,000 difference between two people working the same number of years in the same economic environment. This gap is built on 4 specific defensive money habits Ken uses to manage his income. He didn't hire an advisor or start with a higher salary. He simply changed how he treated the money he already had. Ken developed these moves by watching the previous generation's financial strategies fail. He saw the layoffs and the debt firsthand, then quietly decided to build a playbook that prioritized protection over appearances. Over a career, lifelong wealth is a byproduct of defensive systems you build to protect what you keep. In 2001, Ken watched a 20-year veteran at his company get walked out on a Tuesday with no warning and no severance. It was a visual reminder that a steady paycheck can disappear in an afternoon. That night, Ken opened a high-yield savings account and has since maintained a cash buffer of 6 to 8 months of expenses. In contrast, Maya has about 1 month of savings, and Zoe has just a few $100s. When an inevitable $4,000 emergency hits, like a major car repair or a medical bill, Ken writes a check and his investment plan continues without a pause. Maya puts that $4,000 on a credit card at 24% interest. To pay it off, she pauses her retirement contributions for 14 months. Over 15 years, the cost of those missed contributions and the interest paid adds up to a $35,000 to $45,000 loss in her total portfolio value. An emergency fund acts as a structural shield, ensuring that compound growth remains uninterrupted even when life gets expensive. In 1993, Ken watched his parents celebrate a promotion with a new car and a kitchen renovation. They had built a lifestyle that matched their exact new, higher income. When his father's company downsized, the income disappeared, but the car payments and renovation loans remained. The lifestyle they had built became a permanent weight on a vanishing budget. Now, whenever Ken gets a raise, he splits it. He banks half for his future and uses the other half to upgrade his day-to-day life. Maya and Zoe typically allow their spending to grow at the same speed as their income, absorbing the entire raise into their lifestyle. A raise only builds wealth if you artificially cap your spending and aggressively bank the difference. As a child, Ken found a drawer full of credit card statements showing revolving balances that never seemed to go down. His family wasn't reckless. They were simply caught in a cycle of high-interest borrowing for daily needs. Ken now follows a strict rule: borrow for assets that appreciate, like a home, and pay cash for everything else. This separates strategic leverage from financial leaks. Maya spends $620 a month on a car loan and credit card debt. Had she invested that same cash flow into a total market index fund for 15 years, it would have grown to roughly $250,000. Casual debt represents a permanent loss of market growth. For Maya, the convenience of borrowing today costs her $250,000 in future wealth. Back in 1997, corporate layoffs erased the pensions of workers who had spent 25 years at one company. Ken decided then that he would never let a single paycheck be his only protection against a financial floor. He built an unglamorous side consulting gig that pays him $800 a month. He doesn't have a brand or a social media presence. He simply answers emails and invests every check directly into his brokerage account. Maya and Zoe have tried various side hustles, but they often focus on brand-heavy projects that require high startup costs. These ventures frequently break even or lose money, while Ken's boring consistency compounds. The market disproportionately rewards consistent, unglamorous contributions over time. There is an irony in Ken's success. The same distrust of the system that protected him also created his greatest financial weakness. Ken manages his own portfolio with extreme caution. keeping a 60-40 split of stocks and bonds. Because he is too afraid to lean fully into equities, he has left an estimated $50,000 to $80,000 in growth on the table over the last 15 years. While defensive pessimism helps you survive economic shocks, excessive fear can prevent you from fully capturing market rewards. When you stack the results of these 4 moves together, the buffer, the raise splitting, the debt management, and the second income, the cumulative wealth gap reaches $400,000 to $500,000 over 15 years. Younger generations can adopt these defensive habits today. You don't have to experience financial trauma to benefit from a strategy that prioritizes stability and consistent growth. Your financial outcomes are determined by the habits you choose. By adopting a defensive playbook now, you can build the security that others only find through decades of trial and error.